did you ever think I'm the shit? I was right about me. Fuck everybody who didn't believe in me. Were there any of those negative fame thoughts?
I'm sure there were. It fortunately didn't last too long because then sort of, then you start getting some negative sort of response from things. Like when my movie Freddie Got Fingered came out, that was the first sort of, wow, this is not fun. People are being really mean, like the writing up, Roger Ebert and stuff and saying stuff that was just incredibly, terrifying, to hear. And then you sort of kind of go through a little bit of a crisis where you're going, well, do I have the confidence anymore to go out and just kind of go for it? But also, at the same time, you sort of, nobody comes in and tells you, okay, a year ago, nobody was expecting this, but now they're expecting this. So when you go do something crazy, they're expecting it. It's a kind of a different joke.
Yeah.
And it kind of happens so fast, you don't really necessarily calculate that until all of a sudden, okay, now I'm going, batshit crazy on Conan or something like that. And, maybe I should just go on and just, talk about, what I'm doing or something.
Whatever,
But
so would you have listened, do you think?
I guess let me try and say it better. It's like when you're kind of like just a kid in Canada and I had no money. I didn't have any money, and I didn't have any sort of, you're kind of like rebelling and wanting to make noise and wanting people look at me, look what I'm doing. Then all of a sudden when everyone's looking at you, that's kind of maybe a good time to kind of not be like that. But you're still kind of flying forward,
Yeah.
So that's when sometimes I think, man, there should be kind of a little, little handbook for gross out comedians who get a big show or whatever. Okay.
Would you have? Yeah, I say this legitimately. You should write it. It would be an interesting exercise. It'd be interesting to read because it is like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or what may happen.
Yeah.
My question is, if somebody had told you that, hey, here's what you're going through, and here's what, like, could you have helped Johnny Knoxville? Could you have helped and not like those guys? I mean, it seems like everybody
did pretty good, but some of those other guys, they might have could have used a little help because I know.
Yeah, I know
them all, they're
and,
friends of mine, but people, it's tough on anybody, and you see it happen to a lot of young people who go through, the ringer and get thrust into the spotlight, but it's not the kind of thing you can sort of spend your life complaining about, like, oh, geez, I mishandled that 6 months of my life where everybody was looking at me too much, but you're still kind of in the back of your mind.
It's
going,
still
I would have played that differently.
My question is, are you a little shell shocked?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's when I see you, you seem shell-shocked. You seem like, and I don't know what you were like before. It really was like, not the dog that caught the car or something, but like you did it. You did it correctly.
Yeah.
And you, without thinking, what is there a potential downside to this?
Yeah.
Is there a potential?
My dream
second step,
the month before I got on MTV, my dream was to be able to get a job in television so I could get an apartment or something like that, move out of my parents' basement. And it wasn't host Saturday Night Live or direct a movie. That truly was far out beyond your wildest dream. Yeah, I mean, it was maybe in the back of my mind, I thought maybe in 5 years I could maybe host a talk show, or down the road, or the show could lead to something else. But see, the power of MTV was something I didn't anticipate. It was different back then.
Because you're not even American.
Yeah, we didn't have MTV. Have MTV. So I knew what it was, of course, but we didn't grow up watching MTV.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand the way they do the programming. Was back then there was 5 other shows. There was
Total Request
Real
Live.
World, Road Rules, Total Request Live, Daria, and Celebrity Deathmatch were the 5 other shows, right? And so because of that, they would run the Tom Green show 6 times a day in blocks. Mm-hmm. And so it was very instantly sort of like,
ubiquitous. Yeah, it was.
Everybody knew the show very quickly. So it did happen quickly, but it was exciting and
What's
but I feel like I was humbled somewhat quickly though. So
what's the downside of the getting that famous that quickly?
Probably just the idea that there's not enough time to kind of acclimate to this new reality and sort of adjust, sort of at appropriate rate. Where to really kind of, because I was not just adjusting to that. I was just adjusting to just being in Los Angeles was crazy. Not even like I didn't come here to sort of go on auditions and work my way up. It was just instantly here. The show got moved here. I got Todd Phillips asked me to be in that movie Road Trip, and then it was
and the Pepsi commercial.
And the Pepsi commercials.
The Pepsi commercials.
Yeah.
Today we're going to do a taste test between Pepsi One and the Goldfish.
I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but it was.
I'm not.
It was an interesting adjustment for sure.
Yeah, I'm not even saying like, "What you poor thing." I'm literally like, "Hey man, what was that like?" It's like watching a good car crash.
Yeah.
Someone referred to it as a catastrophic success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you just go like, boy, that's pretty extreme. Mm-hmm. And did you have anybody share it with? Was there any? Yeah, it was so unique. That's the thing about it. It looks so culturally. It was so unique.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a boy band because there was no other boys.
Yeah. Yeah. I was fortunate. I did have a really good manager who I'd met in Canada, the late Howard Lapidus,
mm-hmm.
and he set me up with a business manager and an agent, and everyone was really kind of sort of supportive in that way. I felt like I had and my parents were very good with the whole thing, so I didn't feel like I was kind of lost at sea or anything like that. But it was pretty wild, crazy time for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you sort of then you find it's very surprising when when I put out the movie Freddy Got Fingered, it was just sort of such a whiplash effect, where it was like 1 second they're, saying your shit don't stink, and the next second, this shit really stinks.
Really stinks like shit. Yeah.
And it was supposed to stink, but so that was kind of depressing, actually anxiety inducing and sort of tough, but you get over it,
I want to hear more about what it was like. Tell me more about what it was like, because I know you're shell shocked.
Yeah.
But I want to know. You're not telling me enough for my satisfaction.
Okay. Well,
about what it was like what it was like to be you, wake up in 1999, 2000, and like you're in a movie. It's like a montage.
Yeah,
of success.
I went and bought a Porsche and a Range Rover. I'm driving around a Porsche.
Payments or cash?
I forget what they had me do, but it was like whatever was best for the taxes. I think it was a lease actually. They were both leases.
Yeah.
But so I had these two sweet cars. Although the Range Rover broke down right away.
Did you do it because I want to talk about the relationship with Drew as well? Because a part of me thinks like when you're famous like that, you go like, well, I should get a famous bride because that's kind of what you do. Like
that kind of just happened somewhat. She asked me to be in Charlie's Angels, so that's how I met Drew. When she asked me to be in Charlie's Angels, I'd lived in Los Angeles for like a day or something like that, and I got a call from her, and I met her at
part of the montage
restaurant down here downtown. We met, and then she asked me to be in Charlie's Angels, and that's how we met, and but that obviously added to a lot of the hoopla around things. There was this sort of much more of a. I think that was a big part of what actually made it much more complicated, was because the show, that although it was really doing well and was, I think the insanity of the show contrasted with the sort of more mainstream world of show business that Drew was in, with doing Charlie's Angels, it kind of was.
And
was a bit of a clash there.
Was it stressful? Like, was having the show stressful, and then getting these opportunities? Were you a bit like, because you have anxiety as one of your blocks? This sounds, it's good anxiety, but it's still anxiety.
Oh yeah, it was stressful. Yeah, it was definitely, and you're not used to being stressed out about something, like you said, good, stressed out about something going good. It was more like, I don't want to screw this opportunity up, which is more stressful than having nothing, Yeah.
Then
it's like,
because by the way, everyone's watching
now. Have
now.
Something to lose, and I don't want to screw up this opportunity. This is a one shot, you got here to blow its opportunity, so yeah, it becomes much more stressful. Life became much more stressful, even though it was still also very exciting and fun at the same time. And you have a hard time instantly understanding how to, just sort of navigate through relationships in the world.
Yeah, what was that like? Did it affect personal relationships,
I think sometimes you'd sort of feel like maybe, you didn't really want to or know how to share the excitement of it with people that weren't necessarily
benefiting from
going through through the same thing. So it was the world does change a little bit, but again, these are sort of first world problems.
This show is first world problem. And by the way, we live in the first world, so we're not. No one's had starvation as a block as of yet. So yeah, I'm just more curious as to like the what it's like when. Walk people through that. What you just said quickly about.
Well, I mean, I think when you're like, I was like. Before I had cancer, I was 50 pounds lighter than I am now, in the same height. So like I grew up like extremely thin, right? Like, so I was always very insecure about my weight, like even high school, like I'd be so thin that I was kind of like embarrassed of it. Like my legs were so skinny. It was like, I was used to being kind of like, definitely, not the cool kid, and so you kind of come up with a way of navigating through the world when you're that person. I'm going to walk into class and I'm going to trip over the garbage can and all the kids are going to laugh. It's sort of like how I realized how to make friends when I was in grade 2 or something, second grade, right?
Yep.
We say grade 2.
Thank you for making that American.
Yeah, Americanized it for everybody. Yeah. So I do that on stage a lot too. I'll like say Canadian stuff and the audience, just kind of. But so then, it's a pretty big shift. But
did you resent it?
I don't think that dawned on me instantly, because you still are the person that you are, right? And it takes maybe even years for you to realize, oh no, I'm not the same person I was just 6 months ago anymore, because it's the way, not even, or maybe you are the same person, but maybe the way people perceive you is completely changed. And the way sort of the world perceives you is different,
Yeah.
When you're a kid living in your parents' basement and you're running around taping pork chops to your head with a video camera, people are like, oh, isn't that cute? You're trying to do your little show, and now you're, the show's a big hit and people kind of, maybe are even a little bit sort of resentful, like you said, or that why'd you get that show just by taping meat in your head, whereas 6 months before it was kind of funny that you were taping meat in your head, So when people sort of respond differently to you and you don't really understand why, it takes a little bit of time to kind of process all that. And you kind of almost have to kind of rejig your whole kind of act a little bit.
Hey, did you like that? Did you like that? Yeah, did you like it though? You want more? Don't want to work? Would rather watch videos of me grab-assing with people? First of all, go up here to subscribe, and then go up here to watch more clips. This is like when the weatherman says that there's a high-pressure system coming in. I'm not really used to the green screen.